to the January 2024 vlog. I'll just get my notes up in a second. There we are, it's better. So yeah, welcome to the 2024 vlog. And it's been quite a long time since I've done a vlog. Looking at the notes, the last one was in August last year. Now you're thinking that seems to be a very long time, and it reasonably is. I mean, you've had September, October, November, December. So this is 5 months away, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, depending on the timescales. But there hasn't really been a lot that's happened in between the August vlog and now. Obviously, there's been the Bristol Brick Show, which generated a fantastic amount for charity, which I volunteered at. Help put the tables up, help take the tables down, and generally patrol the event and do things like ticketing and that sort of stuff at the entrance. But other than that, I didn't display. I took some photos, but not as many as last year. There's a bit of the thing where certain bigger shows like that are getting covered by other people who seem to get more of a following anyway. So, it doesn't always seem to be a good thing to take all that stuff. And the other thing really is I've been doing other bits and pieces and working on modules and working on models and that sort of stuff. Speaking of models, last time I did a vlog, this wasn't filled, it now is. And there's been a few other little bits and pieces, so I don't think these wagons were there, possibly. It's been a long time. Those are LNER/BR, I think 21-ton hoppers. They're based off a British Bricks model, but I've modified it slightly, and I've yet to finish them. Typical squirrel syndrome. I've started something, never finish it. That's a modified version of the removals van. That's been there a while, but I did complete it. I did change the doors at some point to this nice dark red one. It doesn't come in regular red, but it does come in dark red, so that's a reasonably good substitute. And obviously I've been filling this. I've filled it within an hour. So I put it up, and I've left it for a couple of months deciding what I want to do. So I filled it up. So you got police and criminals and the 3 firemen from the Winter Village set there. Surprisingly enough, I did have a look on Bricklink to obtain some more of them to fill out a fire fleet, so I could have more than just the 3. And surprisingly enough, nobody in UK had any of the figures and didn't have the torso either. And the torso was actually disappeared off Lego Pick-a-Brick as well. So that's a rare figure now. Nobody in the UK wants to sell them. So when I think it's the Bricks and Figures store in America, when I go to Amherst on Thursday, I'm going to have a check and see if it's one of those. Otherwise, it's just buying another one of the Firehouse sets, which I don't really want to do because it's a lot of cost, and when I'm only after the figures. But it is what it is. If I have to, I have to. But, it looks, having a complete set like that and having more to make a full batch, because you only get 3 of those torsos. I mean, the legs just standard black, not a problem, but the torsos are very bespoke, so unless I get them custom printed, which is a lot of money, that's probably the best way to go. The other big thing in here is the baseball players. Now there's only 3 here, the one from the Stackers and the 2 from the the Clutchers. And again, those are from CMF series 3 and 10. I've got some in my CMF collection, which I think is in the shed. I haven't seemed to have found it yet in my bedroom. But again, I've been building up the collection of these. Some of it's torso, some of it's the hat, some of it's whole figures. But eventually I want to get enough to simulate some form of match between them. So also I'll need, I think there's, I did look it up at one point with the amount of players on the pitch, plus some spares. So yeah, that's going to be something that will take some time to fill in. Other thing is I've made up a couple of other figures, so I've made up some more sailors from bits on hand, so that when I do a bar or something from the display, you'll have some of them lingering around outside, maybe getting a little too much on the adult beverages perhaps. So that's really the big obvious thing. Obviously there's been other things, like some of the stuff in the background's changed, some of it's changed positions, some of it's new, some of it's older, some bits of it are tidier, some bits are messier. There's maybe a CMF package or something you've seen out there, but other than that, not really a lot of changing, because most of the work's been prepping for Amherst. You may find one of the drawers, I think the greens is overflowing because I've been tidying up and go through some of the other stuff, but it is what it is. So yeah, Amherst has been the big thing. I've been getting my 2 modules ready to go. The bridge module, so I've been doing 2 modules. One is a little sort of crossover-y industry spur module, and that is, as I said, the hard part is probably about 70% complete, which is the track sections. Now, I said 80% complete. I've yet to do the signal box, which controls all the turnouts via pneumatics. I've yet to do finish the actual industry spur turnout section. I've got the pieces, it's just the time to put it together, which hopefully I'll get this weekend. And then I've also got the bridge module, which the bridge is now complete, but I just need to do the end bits the bridge slots into. The framing is all there, and it feels sturdy and strong enough. I just need to get the actual bit of the brick where the bridge slots in done, and I can build all the scenery around it using the lerps and burps, or basically the rock pieces. Just fill them in some minor little pieces. Sneeze. Yeah. 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 So yeah. So I've just been doing that. The other thing really is that because I've been doing all the modules, the models I would be taking, I've not had time to finish. So I'll do this in reverse order because I normally show a loco and then show matching stuff. So one of the things I was going to take in terms of supporting the British side was some Thomas and Friends models. So, well, Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, because that's what it was when it was aired. So these are models of the old coaches. Oh, that way it's better. So you've got a brake coach here and a regular or composite here. These are not complete. The composite, or the third, is the most complete out of the 2. It needs some more work on the W irons, but the oil bearings are all there. It hasn't got any brake rigging as of yet, which is something I'd kind of want to do. But I need to actually see a proper 4-wheel coach under frame to actually get a better model, or maybe even find some on the internet and do it. But primarily it's just getting the bulk of it there. So it's got, the door rail or foot rail there. It's got, the 3 doors. These should technically be a little longer. And this is the real problem with Lego scaling. The 2 studs wide suits people. And then you obviously got the seats as well, so to fit the people in you need to do that, but then to expand it you need another 7 studs or 9 studs, whatever it is, and then that kind of makes it look a little too long in my mind. So sticking it with the 3 compartments is probably enough. I have mirrored the vents, so there is 5, so there's 2 for one compartment, 1 for this one, 2 for that one. It is what it is. The brake has a similar thing, except the 2 at one end are the guard compartment and luggage section. So you've obviously got the second door with a different handle on it, just because it would be that one would only this one would only open up once this one would open up, basically. This doesn't have any form of W irons. It's got the bits to anchor them in on because they're above the wheels, but there's nothing there. And then also the ends would need taping up, so you'd have the sides coloured but not the bit in the middle. That's just to help anchor it in. But yeah, I even went as crazy as to do the seat backs in here, so you can't really see it unless you're really up close, but there's some dark orange curved slopes in there to represent the seat backs. Now there isn't anything for the actual seats themselves, but you do have the seat backs in there, so because you'd see those from the window, so that's a bit of an obvious thing if they're not there, which is something I did. But yeah, obviously I'll have coaches, so I'd need a model. Now this is not complete, so I would urge you to have some leniency, but this is a model of Edward. Now this is again not complete. I have got parts to finish it off. The big thing being the cylinder block at the front is white, it should be black. I do have the parts, just never had time to fit it. Going to split with the brake pipe on the front. I was going to do multicoloured handrails, but I've found these blue flex tube sections which actually go pretty much all the way to smoke box. I'm happy with that. There's a single circuit cubes underneath to power it. And the big issue with Edward is not the fact that it's not brick finished, because the only thing really missing is the coal load in the tender and doing the water hatch in the back, and doing the W irons. That's seconds of work, maybe minutes. I'm just exaggerating a little. But the big thing is the wheels. So these are Big Ben Bricks wheels, and these are missing traction bands, and they've also got a rather oversized flange. And to do that, I'd have to get them out off the axle and onto into a motor. I then take a file to the flange to take it down a little bit and angle it a bit better. And then again, I'd have to take a bit of a file or something to the wheels to then create a groove for a traction tyre. Not really the biggest priority in getting a little Edwardian 440 ready compared to getting the modules ready, so it knocks it down the chain. Hopefully they'll be, and I say this, I keep saying this with things, hopefully they'll be finished soon, but again, then Edward and the coaches aren't a priority. Unfortunately, it's just one of the things where great ideas, one of the things, just like school syndrome again, strikes again. I'll go and do this, don't have enough time, so it just gets 90% of the way there and then just gets abandoned. We're almost done. As I said, 9% complete and then it just goes abandoned. So it is what it is. The other thing being is that many months, maybe over a year at this point, the Camelback, which is up there on the shelf, I can see it sort of mournfully looking at me now from the top shelf of its lofty perch. I did actually take the front bogie, or disconnected the front bogie, so I didn't take it off. I just disconnected the front bogie, so it's roughly in the vicinity, but it's not actually connected. I did take it off because it's too long, and it's very chunky compared to the real one. So I was going to rebuild that into a much smaller, more compact version. I've developed a really neat technique for bogies based off Edward, and I really wanted to pull that into other things to make it look better. And it's just something else I haven't done yet. So that's a quicker project, but the thing is, I want to focus on doing trains after I've done the modules, and the modules aren't complete, so I don't get to do trains. Fairly simple reasoning. If the modules aren't ready, there's no point doing trains, because then I'm not fulfilling my, I wouldn't say promise, but guarantee that I'd bring modules and the modules would be complete. So yeah, basically everything is, because the modules aren't there, the trains aren't coming, basically. And one last thing for Amherst. For those of you who've seen Facebook, you'll be aware of these already, but I've had some bricks printed. So for those of you who are an international traveller, or those of you who are interested in collecting odd knickknacks and you're attending Amherst, there's some Matt's Brick Railroad Works on tour Amherst 2024 bricks. There's 30 in total printed. I'm going to be taking one because obviously they're mine. And there's going to be a handful for the LGMS section. I'm thinking probably all 9 as and when. And then the other 20 are going to be as and when on the public days on Saturday and Sunday for anyone who wants them. Because obviously that seems to be the most fair way to do it. And obviously if there's oodles of them left on Sunday and that sort of stuff, I can maybe dole them out to the AML crew, all that sort of stuff. There's possibly 1 or 2 I want to do for AML as well. But yeah, that's something to consider when I'm over there and later date. And speaking of future things and events, Black Country Brick Show is on again next. I keep thinking next year, but it's actually this year. In 2.5 to 2 3/4 months time, on the 6th and 7th of April. And for those of you who haven't got the calendar handy, that is a Saturday and Sunday. And that's obviously the first full weekend in April. The Black Country Brick Show is reasonably a tradition for me. I've done every single one that's been hosted. Admittedly, that is now 3. It sounds like I've done every single one. How many is there? 3. But yeah, so it's the 3rd year at the Academy, Phoenix Collegiate Academy. It's a good venue. You know, you got the school. It's effectively a school, but you've got the canteen. It's a very open hall for the most part, for the main hall. And obviously, we've effectively got 2 halls and the corridor that connects them. And the one corridor's got a few more bits in. I'm looking forward to doing that. Obviously, I'll be on support duties on the day of everything's being set up, and then again when everything's being closed down. That's something else to look forward to. And then the only other thing I really want to mention is FX Bricks and the P40 turnouts. So, obviously I'm a member of a couple of Discords and that sort of stuff. And obviously the big problem with the British delivery to FX Bricks turnouts to Tech Brick for them to fulfill their pre-orders and shipping is that there's been the tie bar issue. So for those who aren't aware, FX Bricks redesigned the tie bar from the initial holes it was to ovals. So they basically took the hole and cut it in half. If you to cut the hole in half, moved it slightly towards the edges and add it, and effectively join the 2 halves with a gap. So it's effectively sort of like a almost like a racetrack sort of, that sort of extended sort of oval with the straight sides. And the first batch had the amended tie bars, and the second batch for some reason had the first version with the holes. So they're not sure why, so they had to stop production to have a look and check what was happening and that sort of stuff. So that's been a delay. So apparently once those are checked, they'll get shipped out. And from what I've spoken to Dan of Tech Brick about it, he sort of thinks they'll be here by the end of the month, or maybe even next month, depending on the delay, which is a good thing, because then it means that I can then, if he gets them, I can get them, and then it means I can start working on the actual display for a change. So yeah, effectively I'm just waiting for... The big thing for me really at the moment in terms of the schedule is waiting for Amherst to be over. Because once Amherst is over, the next thing I've got concrete, in my diary is Black Country Brick Show. Also, there'll be a few things before then. I think there's a couple of meets for Gertlug. I'll try and attend in that time. So yeah, there's a lot happening. Not a lot of time to do it in, and obviously things like these coaches and stuff for Amherst of all these projects I keep veering off doing, taking random right and left turns into doing all these projects. Guess 90% there, then don't complete them. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's it from this bit of a rambly sort of January 2024 vlog. Obviously, you can keep up with the more day-to-day sort of happenings on my Facebook page. And other than that, see you around. If I see you at Amherst, you can pick up a brick. How about that? So that's it from me, and see you soon. Although maybe not quite 5 months' time.